All right, so here goes take one on my attempt at a real-time scene planning for the Take a Chance on Me scene. I'm doing this for a student just to kind of provide an example. We have other examples, but there's a specific conflict that I want to focus in on and kind of show a planning in a very similar scene to kind of demonstrate and provide an example of what we're trying to do with this scene type. So I'm generalizing this so I can post it on my Substack, but this is technically for a very specific person who shall not be named for the context of anonymity. So here goes. Let's try to do this quickly. All right, so the Take a Chance on Me scene is essentially somebody wants to ask somebody out on a date, or specifically to take a chance on them to either a date or something within that realm. And it's a love genre story, and it revolves around a dilemma of trust, which is, can I trust you? With the if I go out with you or if I do this thing you want me to do with you in that context, that it is not going to cause me problems. Let's just say that. So I'm working within a certain set of constraints, and I'm gonna try to keep this at 800 words maximum, and I'm doing this in first person present tense point of view, and I'm going to do it from the antagonist's perspective. The antagonist is the person that is actually doing the asking. They're the one that is throwing the protagonist off by popping this sudden ask. Now, the conflict I'm going to work with is essentially I'm going to start out with a basic question, which is, what does the antagonist, or sorry, not want, why does the antagonist want to go on a date with the protagonist? Because we need to know why the antagonist is doing what they're doing. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to really engage their motivations. And I'm going to say that, so this is essentially their object of desire. And for this scenario, this is actually going to be more complicated, but we're going to start with this basic scenario. So in this scenario, we have an existing partnership. So there's two people that obviously know each other. They've worked with each other for a while. Let's say that the antagonist is a what's a good team up thing? We'll do EMTs. Antagonist is an EMT for the context, and she is asking her partner to marry her because she just found out he has terminal cancer and will be dealing with it alone after he retires in a few weeks. Similar, but not exactly like the scenario that I'm trying to work with for the student. And why would she? Why? Obviously, we're going to create a couple. That's the basic question. And then, of course, the crisis is going to be, what is the crisis? And the crisis is the main question. What is the what is the protagonist going to ultimately do? And that is, and this is going to, what is the crisis? The inciting incident, which is the "Will you marry me?" question. Oops, sorry. What is the crisis that the inciting incident is going to lead to? Okay, and that is more or less, the partner will either say yes or no to the antagonist's proposal. Okay, now I'm going to turn this, we're going to create a little matrix here for these choices. We need to load up these choices with stakes and parameters so we know, okay, well, why would this person say yes or no in this given the context? I'm going to add a little table here, and it's already got 2 rows. I'm going to do choice A, agree to marry her, or choice B, say no. Alright, so let's start with, we have these 3 kind of levels of stakes we talk about. We talk about the kind of stakes. So we're going to do a setup with kind, and that is, why would he agree? Well, he is not married, he is alone, and facing a serious medical event with no assistance. Say no. He does not want to burden his partner with this kind of care. Okay, so that's the basic one. We'll just we'll go from there. I'm going to add another row. We're going to do it by degree. The degree is we're going to ramp it up. He's alone, and being alone, he has no real alternative power of attorney for difficult decisions while incapacitated. Degree. C. If he says no, ultimately the partner is going to transfer out of town, leaving him doubly alone. And let's see. How can we ramp up the time degree? Time is how soon does this decision have to be made? How do we avoid any sort of decision or choices or answers like this being pushed off to a later scene or another day, which really kind of takes the wind out of a scene. We want things to happen now. What do we need to happen now? So for time, I'm going to say yes. He's retiring in a few weeks. So it won't necessarily be frowned upon or break policy. And his treatments start shortly thereafter. She says no. So that's kind of the convenience for yes, but for no, actually we got to change that. This few weeks is still too long. So he's retiring the next day. So we'll just kind of the next day. So he retires the next day. Because she no longer has a partner, she has to agree to the new job in another town. Yeah, she has to agree to the new job in another town by the weekend. So there's no getting around it. She's if she loses it, she's going to miss her job, and if he's going to hesitate like that, she can't wait. This is probably not ideal, but we'll start with this. So this is kind of where we start with our two choices, and then we're going to create some plot points, some beats, some of the 5 commandments for this. We're going to start with the inciting incident. Inciting incident is going to be essentially, you should marry me. But we'll fluff it up a little bit. We'll say, we'll do something. That's what she says, and then he says, you're joking, something of that regard. Yeah. So you should marry me. That's the inciting incident. And then we'll have the crisis is, obviously we know that. We're going to make it, does he agree to marry her or not? And we're going to set this up with a climax. We're going to say that he does. He agrees to marry her. Happily ever after, except the hero dies at the end. And then we need a resolution. How are we gonna? Guess we'll some reaction from the protagonist, that. The thing about a good one, what's a good resolution for that? How does it really show that he made a decision that was okay within the arena? We're not gonna break the existing setting, so maybe she smiles and hands him. What did he hand him? Something. Thinking. This is real time. I promise to pause when I actually start typing the words. She smiles and hands him a. We'll be silly and we'll call it a twisty tie ring. We'll say a ring made from a twisty tie. We'll make it cute. Maybe we'll incorporate that into the action. While they're sitting there in their EMT truck, she's making this thing. That might work. Anyways, this isn't gonna win a Pulitzer. So, anyways, we've got the resolution. So now we can start building out what's going to happen between the inciting incident and the crisis. What's going to happen here in the middle? The progressive complications. Back and the forth. We'll start out with, obviously, so you should marry me, and he says, are you kidding? No, you'll need someone to manage things when you're chemo. And then he says, then the return is, if I even do chemo, and if you don't, you'll really need my help. Let's see. Kind of back and forth. Why would you want to go? Let's assume that she's had a husband die from this. We'll make it. We'll just go for the gut here. Why would you want to go through this again? Because you put me back together after Dawn. His name after, yeah, I'll just say Dawn, whatever. It's just a similar name, but because you put me back together after Dawn. We've been partnered. Something of that nature. What would you do? Dawn. And then we'll put you, help you when I'm gone. I'll do therapy. Laughs. Let's see. Okay, so how do we get to the... Can't do too much because I'm restricting myself to 800 words, so let's go down a little bit faster. I'll do therapy, laughs. Don't be an ass. Want to be there for you. However this ends up. What does he say to that? Let's make this relatively short. I've got a solid retirement. I'll have a home nurse. I'll have the best doctors. I'll be taken care of. Who make the hard decisions when you can't? Let's say he's got a daughter. I'll Let's see. POA, power of attorney. Betsy's in Hong Kong for school. She's not exactly let's cut the daughter out of it. Not complicated. It adds the kind of, I don't know. The daughter thing kind of gives them an out, because then you got to wonder, why is the daughter not coming down here anyways? Yada yada. Maybe I'll put it back in. Anyways, so I know you'll want a DNR. Yeah, anyways. So, but he's really got to push back on it. We need to reach a turning point where he makes his final rejection. So, make the hard decision when you can. I know you want DNR. You never shut up about it. And he goes, oops, a very bad demarcation. I'm just getting into the weeds here. We'll make the hard decisions when you can't. I don't know. I know you'll want a DNR. You never shut up about it. Actually, you know what? No, let's make that already filled out of DNR. I don't need you to make that decision for me. I won't let you carry that. Let's just make this a finality. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go that direction. We'll call that, I don't know, I'll call that the turning point. Make it boom. Okay. That becomes the turning point. And then she lays down the big crisis. Won't be here to bring you soup. I went over the matter with HR, and I'm not taking a partner. There's an opportunity out of town. That I need to accept by the weekend. I can't watch another man I love die. Okay. So that's kind of a plan. And then comes the actual writing of that. So turning that into the actual scene, I'm not going to record that whole bit because that is a lot more time and probably more boring than this was. But there you go, basic scene plan. I don't know if it entirely works. The progression, the complications could probably be fleshed out a little bit better, but I might tweak those as I write it. Okay? Well, there goes this trial of planning a scene.